Primetime Sports with Scott Alexander is underwritten by Task Performance.
Crescent City Steakhouse, a true neighborhood restaurant operated by the Vojkovic family since 1934, is the oldest steakhouse in the city of New Orleans. Serving only hand-cut, prime-aged, corn-fed beef for over 80 years, Crescent City Steakhouse has become a dining destination for both die-hard locals and adventurous travelers who seek traditional, timeless New Orleans cuisine. Crescent City Steakhouse, 1001 North Broad, on the corner of St. Philip, in the heart of New Orleans.
Hey New Orleans, get ready for some rugby. There's a new pro sports team in town, and it's NOLA Gold, bringing world-class rugby to the Crescent City. The game is fast, the hits are hard, the fan experience is for real. Season tickets, lifetime tickets, and game day passes are all available at nolagoldrugby.com. I'm John Goodman, and I'll see you in the scrum.
It's back. Experience golf like never before. A party New Orleans style.
Well, here's the bottom line. Well, it's funny that you say that. Let me tell you. Good evening and welcome to Primetime Sports. Hey, I'm your host, Scott Alexander, and it is my favorite time of the year. It is springtime. The weather is beautiful outside, and all the great sporting events are happening right now. Hey, the Masters is this weekend. Cannot wait for that. That is golf's crown jewel, in my opinion. Also, the NBA playoffs, they are right around the corner starting next week. NHL playoffs as well, if you like hockey. How about Major League Baseball? They're 2 or 3 weeks in as well. And the NFL draft is just a couple weeks away. We're going to talk a lot about that on next week's show. But how about this? March Madness? Well, it's now in the books. Everybody knows me, knows basketball is my favorite sport. It's exciting. As usual, Final Four was no exception. This weekend was incredible. Virginia, how about that game right there? You see that foul at the end of the game. Kyle Guy hits 3 free throws, puts Virginia in the championship game. And Texas Tech on the other side outlasts Michigan State. So you had 2 first-time coaches, Tony Bennett on the left, Chris Beard on the right. It was going to be a first time for one of them, and the final last night did not disappoint. How exciting was this? We had an overtime thriller, and that guy you see right there, DeAndre Hunter, who was 0 for 7 to start the game, ended up with 27 points, a career high. He hit 8 of his next 9 shots, including some threes. Kyle Guy right there again hit some huge shots. He was fantastic. You see Ty Jerome right there. Those 3 guys and Clark, all those guys were pivotal in this tournament. And there's the celebration. Virginia wins their first national championship ever. When I was in high school and college, you had a guy, Ralph Sampson, that went to he won 3 straight he won 3 straight MVP in college basketball. That's never happened. He went to the Final Four, but never got it done. Virginia, congratulations to them. And you see right there Culver, who I hope wears a Pelicans uniform next year for Texas Tech. He was fantastic, but he didn't get it done. Defense was the name of the game, but offense came alive in the second half, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. And Chris Beard and Texas Tech, need to put your head down because you will definitely be back one day in the NCAA championship game. Hey, and good moving forward, how about the women's side? I can't leave out the ladies. And we have our own Hammond, Louisiana native. She wins her 3rd title. Of course, that's Kim Mulkey winning for Baylor as the head coach. There she is on the left with her daughter. Congrats to the Baylor Bears. Kim Mulkey was, of course, a Hammond native, like I said, Louisiana Tech star, an Olympian gold medalist, a starter in the 1984 Olympics. The same Olympics, by the way, that Michael Jordan won his gold medal on the men's side. How about LSU? The quarterback situation in the spring game, and for the first time, it wasn't a big controversy because that guy right there, Joe Burrow, is now in a new short passing game offense with former Saint passing quarterback coach, Joe Brady. He's obviously a guy that's going to be leading this passing attack along with Steve Ensminger as a coach, and they are going to be very effective. That guy you see right there was the #1 recruit in America. He's a true freshman next season, and he got the pick right there. This is a guy that will definitely be playing on Sundays. His name, Derek Stingley Jr. Do not forget that name. And speaking of LSU, how about our gymnastics team? A few weeks ago, right here in New Orleans, in the Smoothie King Center, LSU won the SEC title. That's nothing new for the Tigers. Dee Breaux, you see right there, she is a true legend among people walking on this planet. She is certainly one of those legends. They got the championships coming up next week in Fort Worth, and we're going to have her right here in the show. And also, I can't forget about my NOLA Gold, by the way. The NOLA Gold. How about this team? For the third straight week, the game was decided on the last play of the game, and this time they won. They've won 2 of those 3. They're in first place right now, 38 total points. The second place team has 33. Congrats to them. We're going to have 2 of their players here today. We're going to have Cam Falcon and Tim Maupin. I'm looking forward to that. Also, you saw Dee Breaux. She's going to be here today. And we have another father-son combination. Cannot wait. We've had a lot of great fathers and sons on the show together. We got another one. J.J. McCleskey, the former Saint Arizona Cardinal, played for the Tennessee Volunteers. His son, by the way, just transferred to Tulane. The guy's got a ton of catches from Oklahoma State. He's going to play his final year with his dad, who's an assistant coach with the Green Wave. They're going to be here today. It's going to be a great show. Once again, we'll see you right here on Primetime Sports. Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports, and I am very excited about our first guest, Dee Breaux. Ladies go first on this show, and this is going to be no exception, but this is a 2-time National Coach of the Year, won the SEC title so many times, at least won the SEC Coach of the Year, enough to fill both rings on my fingers, and also she's been obviously the SEC champ several times, the SEC regional tournament champs a few times. I'm not sure if I'm getting all the tournament verbiage right, but last time she was on this show, well, she was inducted to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, rightfully so. She's been at LSU over 4 decades. I don't know how that's possible. She must have started when she was 8, but here she is again. Welcome back to the show, Dee.
Thanks. It's good to be back. Thanks for having me.
You doing all right?
I'm doing fabulous.
I mean, I bet you are. You got the obviously the NCAA championships are coming up in about a week and a half. Well, tell me what's happening this season.
Well, we got the hard stuff done. You know, to win the Southeastern Conference championship, the tournament 3 times in a row. That's just crazy. Says so much about the staff and the support that we get at LSU, and our fan base is amazing. And you know, this team just keeps achieving and keeps overcoming little bits of adversity and rise above it. And I couldn't be prouder of what is happening in our gymnastics program at LSU.
I know we touched on this a couple of years ago when you were on, but there was a kind of a turning point for LSU and getting the funds, and kind of go over how important that was, and when did that happen for LSU gymnastics?
Well, the first step was when Skip Burtman became the athletic director. He understood and appreciated all the battles and everything that I had gone through, and to save gymnastics and to help it to grow and to prosper. Sure. And then when Joe Oliva came, he really saw the potential that this could be a sport that could fill the PMAC. This is a sport of incredible athleticism, and you know, pound for pound, these athletes are amazing. So you know, Joe came and really began to support the program, and you know, you got to have the right tools, and he gave us the tools that we needed to make this program prosper. You know, you got to have a staff. You got to have the right kind of staff, and you've got to have the right kind of training center, and all of those things have happened in the last 10 years.
You are like the dean. I mean, not like the dean. You are the dean of LSU coaches, and this is, I mean, LSU's gone through many periods of prosperity, but it's as good as it gets. I mean, obviously, we know there's a little bit of turmoil right now in the basketball deal, but that team was ranked in the top 10 towards the end of the season. Yeah. You have LSU football finish around number 6. Baseball team started number 1, and all the other sports.
Softball is kicking butt and taking names
Track?
right now.
What?
Track's doing well. Our beach volleyball program is as good as it gets. Both of our tennis programs are prospering and winning matches. Our golf programs are moving forward, and I just can't say enough good things about what's happening. It's a great time to be a Tiger.
So, I mean, it's funny because everybody's like all of a sudden talking about, hey, whether they want to keep the AD or not. It's like, it seems like they're doing pretty good.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
It's never been better. You know, you look at the finances, you look at what's happening across the board in our sports, and our kids are graduating, and just wonderful things are happening at the university, and I just can't say enough good things about the leadership that we have right now.
Well, let's talk about you. The Smoothie King Center hosted the SEC Championships, and I'm kind of tight with the people that around that fund the stadiums and stuff, and they were very excited because I was talking about the Final Fours coming,
Yeah.
the NCAA football championships coming, and the Super Bowl's coming, and they were quick to point out that the SEC Gymnastics Championship should be right in that group.
Is coming back.
And they were excited.
We're bringing it back, and you know they worked so hard, and they believed in the dream. They believed in what LSU was pushing and what I was talking about, and Jay Clark and Joe Oliva, and the phone calls, and the governor calling the commissioner and saying, hey, bring this thing to New Orleans. We're going to make it happen. It's going to be great. And they got behind us, and it happened, and now we're going to bring it back.
I'm going to give a shout out because that was Kyle France telling me all this. He was an appointee from Edwards, and he's the chairman of the, obviously, LSED, Louisiana Stadium Exposition District. So they're excited about what y'all are doing, and so is the entire state of Louisiana. Let's talk about the team right now, first of all. Sarah Finnegan, two-time SEC Gymnast of the Year. That is amazing.
It is amazing, and this conference is loaded with talented athletes, and gymnastics is a sport where the discipline, the mental and the physical discipline, the wear and the tear on these kids' bodies is amazing. You're fixing to put some rugby guys here, and you know it's that same kind of battle with your body constantly, and Sarah Finnegan has just been that mental. She's mentally tough, she's physically tough, she can departmentalize, she's a great student. She just does everything she's supposed to do, and she leads this team in the right direction.
I mean, going forward, I mean, listen, LSU has been so close. Y'all were second a few times. I remember when you were on last time, you're trying to get over, you've been third. What's it going to take to get that final leap into first place?
You know, consistency wins. And we had a great weekend at SEC Championships. We had a great weekend, you know, hosting the regional first round and then what we call the super regional the last day. It's going to take consistency. We went through both of those meets and had no major breaks, and that's what it's going to take. You know, we had some powerhouse gymnastics programs not advancing to the championships. Florida did not advance. Alabama did not advance. So, I mean, it takes a lot of moxie for you to put that together 2 days back to back. We'll have to get past UCLA, we'll have to get past Oklahoma, we'll have to beat Utah again, and Michigan's there. So, I mean, it's going to be a great competition, but it's keeping your eye on the prize, keeping your mind right, not make it bigger than it is, and just go out there and have fun.
You know, a lot of coaches, obviously, when you coach a university, many come from out of state. You know, they just try to get the best candidate possible. I asked Coach Ogeron, the LSU coach, Coach O, this last summer when he came on with the governor, I said, hey, you're a Louisiana kid. I mean, you are from the Bayou. You are coaching LSU. What has that got to feel like for you? I'm going to say the same thing with you. I've had you on before. I don't think I've asked you this specifically. You're a Donaldsonville girl, right? Donaldsonville, right between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, right down the road on I-10. What is it like to coach at LSU, your home state, where you grew up?
Well, you know, when this first came about, the opportunity came about, it was a fledgling. It was an opportunity to come and see something grow. And Carl Maddox hired me. Pat Newman was our coordinator of women's sports. And they took a chance. I was a graduate student, didn't have, you know, I'd coached college at Southeastern with Vannie Edwards. And so I had some experience, and what I had was enthusiasm and a real burning desire to make LSU, put it on the map and make it a great program. So they began with scholarships, and it didn't even have a facility at the time. You know, we corner of the field house. But what it means to me to be in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, to be in all of those sorority, fraternity things but the main thing is to be a citizen of Louisiana and to be a part of something that's really good, that has a huge footprint in this state that people can be proud of.
I can honestly say that from my own experience. I left almost 3 decades, coming back. There's nothing like living in Louisiana. And when you live away and you come back and visit,
Yeah.
you're always like, why did I leave? I want to get back. And that's why we have so many people coming back.
I never left.
You never left.
I never
You
left.
stayed. You were the smart one.
Yeah, I have survived a lot of athletic directors, a lot of change at LSU, but
I
you
like
know,
how you say survived.
I've survived.
I know a couple
because
that,
you know,
I know a couple.
there have been some athletic
I
directors that
know.
wanted to drop the sport
I
and
know.
get rid of the sport, and people fought for us. Bill
Yeah.
Bankhead went in the trenches, and you know, the legislators and different people that cared about our program fought to save it. And now it's like, wow, look where we are and look what we've done. And I think the opportunity to represent LSU at the highest level, and to be able to be in the field and talk about all the good things that LSU does for the state. I mean, it's a generator of power for our state, and to be a part of that is really a blessing.
I wasn't planning on asking this, but just sitting here thinking, you've seen all kind of athletic directors, you've seen all kind of coaches in every sport run through. When you think of a coach that is a character, colorful over your years, who comes to mind first at LSU?
Well, if you're going to say colorful character, I'm gonna have to go with Dale Brown, because he was an amazing character. But then you got people like Paul Maneri. What a nice guy, just a great guy, and I get texts from him all the time, and I see him all the time. And but then you got Les Miles. I love
Me too.
Les
I
Miles.
love all these guys you're talking about.
Coach O. What a colorful character. How much fun, and I love college football. And to be on the sideline for a college football game. I went to my first away game this year. I went with the team to the Dallas game, the first game.
Oh,
And
that Miami
was
game.
The Miami
Yeah.
game. On the sideline, just in the suites, just back and forth around, to be around that. And I have favorite players on every team. Brady James, I've stayed real close to.
West Monroe.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I flew Brady James to Atlanta when he was a high school guy to be on my national TV show Countdown to Sunday. I love Brady James.
I love Brady James. Corey Webster. So many of these guys have befriended me and stayed real close to me. I did a thing with Booger McFarland last week
He's a great
for
guy.
the SEC Network, and I just, they're just, it's a great place, and they're great people, and it's so nice to be a part of it.
Well, that's interesting, because I think a lot of people do wonder, do coaches in different sports, do they get along? Do they hang out? I know it's not always as harmonious as this, but is that kind of common? Is it common at LSU, or you think that's just kind of?
I don't know. I think it's very common at LSU. I asked the gymnastics coach from Michigan State this weekend if I could get Tom Izzo's cell phone number, because I've become a fan watching his team on TV, and I wanted to send him a good luck text.
Yeah.
He said, well, Dee, I don't have his cell number. I'm like, I found that strange.
Right.
Because,
That is
we're
crazy.
constantly texting each other and calling each other and, congratulating or keep it going. Don't let this get you down, move forward. There's constant text going back and forth among all of the coaches at LSU. And, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Everybody's not a gymnastics coach at LSU, but everybody is a coach that's there. And there's a real common thread that runs through us all.
I got Izzo's number if you want it.
Do you really? I'd like to have it.
I do have it, and it's a weird story. Zach Randolph stayed at my house. He was on my show. He was going to go pro because he'd heard that Izzo was going to take the Hawks job, and it was in the Atlanta paper. And long story short, Izzo was on the phone and said, Zach, I'm not leaving. So that's why I got it, but that's like
Well,
from 20 years
I'll
ago.
get it from him, because I really wanted to send him a good luck note.
Moving forward, we talked about Finnegan, but it takes obviously more than one to get where you are, winning the SEC, having a shot at the national championship
Right.
once again. You have another, speaking of basketball and Izzo, Tyus Edney's daughter. Tyus Edney, people remember, played for UCLA.
Yeah.
The famous game-winning shot against Princeton when they almost got upset that time, and he went coast to coast. His daughter, Kennedy, is one of the keys to this gymnast squad.
She has been a real gamer, and she competes very well under pressure. I guess her dad did too. And but she has a high degree of difficulty, and is a real character on the team. But this is her mounting her bar routine at the regional championships, and this was a lot of pressure. We didn't have Lexi Priestman in this lineup, so we were down one of our 995 routines. So it was a pressure event for the entire team. She did a fabulous job.
Going forward, what's going to be the key? I know you talked about this a little bit, but winning the next one, I know you
Well,
said you were
it'll-
down one athlete.
Yeah.
What's it going to take?
Well, we're hoping to get Lexi Priestman back, and
Yeah.
I think that's going to be critical. If we
Okay.
can get her back. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take not making it bigger than it is. Just go out on the floor and have a good time. Relax and enjoy the fact that you're in the Elite 8 of women's gymnastics teams in the country.
Yeah.
There'll be 4 and 4, the same as we had at SEC championships or at our regional championships. 4 and 4, the top 2 from each rotation will advance to Sunday.
Okay.
And here's Sarah Finnegan on bars at regionals. Absolutely.
This is the SEC Gymnast of the Year twice, right?
Yeah, and she is.
She's amazing.
She's capable of winning the all-around title at the national championships, and hopefully she'll win the AAI award and go on to win the Honda Award, which is the Heisman Trophy for gymnastics. But there again, there's a lot of competition, and it's so many fabulous student athletes.
Look at the athleticism of these girls, man.
995,
This
and there's
is
Jay
crazy.
Clark. Jay Clark knew she hit a home run on that one.
I mean, listen, sometimes people take for granted what the athleticism in a sport like this. It's unbelievable, off the charts. And you see how dangerous it can be. I think there's a recent spill. Was it a Stanford girl or somebody broke both of her legs? Auburn. I think it was Auburn, yeah.
She landed a little bit stiff-legged and a little bit short and hyperextended both knees and has some ligament damage in both knees. She's getting married in June, and her goal, and she will achieve her goal, is to walk down the aisle.
Hey, you talked about relaxation, and that's congratulations to her for that. Hopefully that works. You mentioned relaxation. You're not necessarily a Bayou girl, but you're from Louisiana. What do you do for relaxation?
I did grow up on the Bayou.
Oh, you were down the Bayou.
We grew up on Bayou Lafourche, Mississippi River, and when I was a kid, I foolishly or proudly or whatever swam across the Mississippi River. So I'm very proud of where I come from and the town of Donaldsonville. It's been amazing.
Well, you're friends with a guest I'm going to have next week because when the NFL draft comes along, I got to have my Mike Detillier coming on the show. And he told me to give you a special hello. Y'all are friends as well?
Yes. But, the thing about growing up in Donaldsonville, and everybody knowing everybody. And, whenever there's a football player from Donaldsonville, like Stephon Sullivan is from Donaldsonville, I text him all the time. I'm constantly, okay, man, going to class, doing what you're supposed to do. And, yeah, coach, I'm on it. And, I see him before every football game. And so, there's a kinship, a relationship.
So you know my man, Beezy Sotil as
well?
I
know Beezy really well.
I mean, you talk about Donaldsonville. That's the first name I ever think of when I do. Hey, by the way, we give gifts on this show, Dee Dee. I can't wait. And by the way, you like to get in the kayak and put that.
I love to kayak fish. Yes, I do.
I mean, where do you go?
Grand Isle. I kayak fish in the marsh at Grand Isle. I'm very, very passionate about saving our coast and coastal restoration.
Right.
And I just think that as citizens of the state, we need to be keenly, sharply aware of what's happening to our vanishing coastline.
So much to the chagrin of the owner of Shays de la Shays, I set a record by giving you the largest gift certificate ever. Evan, you'll be thankful about this because it should be so much fun to have.
Evan,
this is
thank you so much.
Shays de la Shays.
Yes, I can't wait.
It's not far from Community
I've heard great things about it.
Oh, it's about the best wine list, by the way, in the entire city. It's over there on Maple Street between Carrollton and Broadway, and we have everybody that gets these Task shirts, so they say, Scott, can I get a few more of these? Where can I get these soft?
They're soft. They're made with bamboo.
Cotton?
Yeah,
there you go. Look at
cotton.
you.
Yeah, I know. I have some tights that
do
are
you?
like that. Yeah, so thank you very much.
So you know what they're about. And
I'm
also,
gonna get the gymnastics logo put on.
We're going to have you, I know you're busy this next couple of weeks, so you're not coming this, but when the season's over, we have 2 games in May. We'd like to do the ceremonial first ball out there.
I would love to do it.
The NOLA Gold. We're going to give you tickets, whoever you want to bring, but we have a big game this weekend. It is this 2 o'clock on Saturday. April the 13th, and that's going to be a big match.
Terrific.
By the way,
thanks.
I
met 2 of the guys out in the lobby.
First place, high flying, and
Wow.
they're the Saints of New Orleans. They're the highest scoring team in the league, and a lot of fun to watch.
Fun, and they play out at Zephyr Field.
Well, that's going to be possibly next season.
Okay.
This year we built a stadium for Shaw over there on the West Bank, so it's a
Okay.
beautiful stadium, and they have a beautiful VIP experience. It's wonderful.
Good.
And you'll be in that VIP experience
Thanks.
for sure. Dee Dee Breaux, like I said in the open, a true legend among us, and we wish her luck next week at the NCAA Championships in Fort Worth. Check that out for sure. Hey, we got a huge show for you. Later on in the show, we have, another father-son combination. We've had several of them here. We've obviously had, T-Bob and Bobby Hebert. We had the Maudis. We've had Jay Tyler, Herb Tyler, and goes on and on. I recently had a father-daughter with, what did I say? Scott and his mom Doobie, Plaisance, and I'm like sitting here trying to remember all my father-son combinations. But that's coming up next. We have J.J. McCleskey, the former New Orleans Saint, Arizona Cardinal. He obviously played for the Tennessee Volunteers as well. His son, who was a star at Oklahoma State, the wide receiver, he caught almost 200 balls the last few years. He's transferring to Tulane for his senior year. That's coming up in a little bit. But next, we have two rugby players. Dee just mentioned them. Tim Maupin from the Bay Area and a local product. All the rugby guys we've had lately, either from overseas or all over the country, we've got a local guy right here, Cam Falcon. He's a star. He went to Shaw himself, LSU as well, and that's coming up next right here on Primetime Sports.
Primetime Sports with Scott Alexander is underwritten by Task Performance.
The owners of the Delachey's Wine Bar on St. Charles Avenue have opened up their newest creation uptown on Maple Street called Chez Delachey, a new local wine bistro featuring a larger menu of small and large plates, a brighter atmosphere, and full table service. Additionally, patrons can enjoy a large patio out front as well as an extensive wine list offering selections from around the world. It's Chez Delachey, 7708 Maple Street between Carrollton and Broadway.
Rock and roll will never die. It's old New Orleans, my oh my. Come on, baby, let's go rock and roll at the city lane. All night, let's roll, let's rock and roll. Baby, do the rock and roll. At the Mid-City Lanes, the home of rock and roll.
Embracing New Orleans soul with style in fashion wear from NOLAshirts.com. Show off your love for one of America's unique cities with shirts, belts, and hats in a variety of colors and styles. NOLAshirts.com proudly celebrates the culture and embodies the spirit and determination of people from the Crescent City. The tradition lives on at NOLAshirts.com.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. This is one of these shows that I'm kind of going across the board. Next week, we're going to have big NFL draft because that's coming up in a couple weeks. Mike Detillier, we're going to have some other people. Every year I've had a big LSU player that's about to be drafted, whether it be Duke Riley or Will Clapp or Tulane guys that are in the NFL as well. We're going to keep that tradition up as well. But right now, you just saw Breaux, and next we are going to do some football with a father-son combination. Right now, the NOLA Gold Rugby are the hottest thing going right now. Certainly in this town, this is major leagues. Like I said before, this is not the minor leagues. This is a major league sport, and it's the third major league sport in the city of New Orleans after the Saints and Pelicans. And nothing against those other sports. I love them. But these are some of the best athletes in the entire world, and New Orleans has the first place team. That's right, the NOLA Gold. Man, they are not just first place. They are exciting. They're thrilling. They'll keep you on the edge of your seat and give you a heart attack because the last three matches have all come down to the final play of the game, and they've won two of them. One was a heartbreaking loss last week, but they're back on the winning track, beating Toronto in the first ever Major League Rugby match north of the border against the Toronto Arrows because they had their first 8 matches on the road, and now they're going to have their last 8 at home. You just say, why is that? That's because there's weather situations up there. It's hard to play in the snow, and now they're going to have hopefully better weather the rest of the way. But once again, we've had a lot of the players on over the past 4 months, and we're going to continue to do that. And right now we have 2 that are more local. One's from the Bay Area. His name is Tim Maupin, and the other's from right here in New Orleans. He might say Marrero, but I'm saying New Orleans. His name is Cam Falcon. Welcome, guys.
Hi,
Tim Maupin right here. Cam Falcon, how are you, my friend?
Doing very well.
Hey, I say this occasionally. I said this to Kane Thompson and Cam Dillon. I said winning is sexy.
Yeah.
How's that going for you right now?
It's going really well. I mean, you said it earlier, we've had a lot of close games the last 3-4 weeks. We've been to the benefit of 3 out of the 4. But, yeah, it feels good to win. It's a pretty close table right now. You know, we're 5 points ahead of New York, but 1 loss, and we could be down in 5th or 6th, so it's close.
I mean, everything matters. I mean, like, listen, you know, you lost to Glendale on that last play of the game. And Glendale, by the way, is not the one in California, not the one in Arizona. It's the one in Colorado, Rugby Town, USA. But that had to be a tough one. Let's go back to that. The feeling of coming back from a deficit, you take the lead. literally, it's almost at the end of the game. You think you won that one, and all of a sudden it gets swiped from you literally on a questionable call at the end. How'd that feel?
Yeah, we let that one slip through our fingers. I came on about 30 minutes left in the game. We were down, got the lead back. We had, a minute and a half to go. I thought it all wrapped up tight. A couple unfortunate mistakes and led to them kicking for 3 and winning the game. So that was definitely a tough loss in that fashion.
When you lose like that, Tim, I mean, what's that feel for the next game? You're going on the road. Toronto's ready for you. You beat them in a tough game early in the season, but you have that edge. You're like, hey, we just lost one we should have had. What was that feeling going up to Canada?
You just have to have a short memory. You kind of take Monday, we kind of flushed what was going on in Glendale, saw what mistakes we made and how we had to clear up the game, and then you just focus on the next week. And especially in a league, like I said earlier, that's really tight, you just go into Toronto more motivated and make sure you're a bit sharper on the things you need to do so that you can finish out a close game like we had against Glendale. So we were pretty extra motivated because, we like to win. That's why you play this sport. So we were extra motivated to go up, play a bit spoiler for their homecoming, their home opener, and just a bit sharper during the week.
I mean, what's that feel like? I mean, they had a good crowd. Obviously, they were
really
pumped. I mean, this is a rugby town. I mean, I know they have other
up.
sports, but they know their sport, and they showed up. And what's it like getting that win on the road like that, taken away from them?
I guess we like to have the reputation of being underdogs and the bad boys of the league. So it's always good to go in when this week in particular everybody picked against us. So that was a little knock on the chin. So coming in and finishing off the job is always a good feeling.
Well, they picked against you in game 1. I know they all picked against you, and you took that game 2. They picked against you, and I think now people are starting to realize that this is probably one of the favorites of the league. How's that feel from going to a team? You both were here last year.
Yeah.
You had injuries. You had some unfortunate close losses. Now you're winning most of these games. How's that feel when now you walk into stadiums and you're like, oh, my goodness, this is the NOLA Gold. This is a team to be reckoned with.
It feels good, but at the same time, we still have a bit of that mentality from last year where we still feel like we got to prove ourselves each week, every week. Because you still have some of those people that say, oh, NOLA Gold got fortunate that they beat this team, or there was bad calls if it went this way or that way. So we kind of just take everything on the chin, take everything one day at a time, and just say, we're here to play rugby, to prove who we are, to show who we are, that, we know how to play rugby down here in the South, and have fun, we just go into each week having fun. We're a pretty close-knit team. So
they're saying bad calls again for us. I was about to say, if there was not a certain French ref, this team would be 9-0. I'm just saying. Let's be honest right here.
Hey, there's been a couple tough calls for us for sure.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, Francais, whatever. Hey, you guys, obviously, both football players. I'm going to start with you. You're a local guy. You play football. Yeah. Your family, however, is football and rugby. So you had that I know how you got started. You got those.
Oh, yeah, I got busted up
this
weekend.
You got beat up on the face.
Yeah, we played on turf up in Toronto, and it was very unforgiving for me. So
it's a man's sport,
it was a great week to be on TV for me, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, look at you. You got that like that. You was in a car wreck.
Yeah.
Hey, but by the way, talk about your transition from football to rugby.
So funny enough for me, rugby came first. So I went to Shaw High School over in the West Bank. I started playing rugby for Shaw in middle school.
Okay.
So Dad was coaching out there. I was trying to play football in Louisiana like everybody else. I was 10 or 11 over at Pard.
There's Pops.
Yeah, there he is, looking good. But I was actually too heavy to play at Pard playground. I was 10 years old. The weight limit was 140.
Oh, I've seen that before.
I weighed 150, so I couldn't play. So Dad was like, well, we're all about physical activity, like I said before. And so you need to do something. You can't just sit around home watching TV. He's like, you need to come out to rugby practice. At the time, the team was fledgling. We had 8 or 9 people show up. You need 15 to play.
Oh, my goodness.
So next thing you know, we showed up on Saturdays. It was time to play games, and I was, stuck right in there.
As a 10-year-old?
Yeah, a 10-year-old player, 11 by the time I started playing with them.
That's crazy.
So it was a trial by fire sort. So rugby almost really came first for me before football. So I didn't start playing football until 8th grade at Shaw.
So De La Salle locally has had some great success in football. When I played sports there, it was mostly the other sports, not good in football. But one De La Salle that we all look to, because there's a group of De La Salles around the country, was the one you went to in California. The movie, The Game Stands Tall, was about it. Obviously, the book came first. And I know you love the book better than the movie. I have to give the movie was filmed here, so I can't just dog it.
Yeah.
But and I have a couple
enough.
Friends that were in it. You know one, I'm Marlon Favor, right?
Yeah, I know.
So I'm not going to dog. But the fact is, you were running back on those teams, and this is like a legendary team. They won, 158 straight games, something like that?
151 in a row, yeah.
I'll go 151. We're in the ballpark. But the fact is what was that like being a part of this thing, man? That's huge.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, I played football ever since I was 8 years old.
That's you, 36, correct?
That is me, yeah. That's
right.
my senior year. I haven't seen that in a while. I grew up playing football in the Bay Area, and you always heard about De La Salle. I went to their championship football camps when I was younger, and they'd string out their highlight tape just to kind of show what they did. And I mean, watching guys like Maurice Jones-Drew, Amari Toomer. I mean, some of these players play. You're just
I just
larger
interviewed
than
Maurice
life.
Jones-Drew. That's interesting. He came down for Jacksonville.
Yeah, and so I don't know, just kind of being on that campus and being in that sport and the culture and sort of shaping how I viewed things of, what a team culture is like, what it's like to be a good teammate, what it's like to work hard, what it's like to just kind of do your job. You don't always have to be the star, the stud guy. Sometimes you got to make that block or you got to run that fake or just do your job and the rest will take care of itself. And it was a great experience. It was something that was really good experience.
You're actually blocks away from another legendary football program, John Curtis, whose coach is about to surpass all coaches in all levels of most wins. And it is that kind of thing. He's been doing this for 50 years. I mean, you play 27 state titles, including this season. They've been #1 in the country. So it's New Orleans people, it's a similar deal in California. They just had that long streak. Same kind of program, domination. Y'all pronounce it De La Salle over there? Because it's De La Salle here.
De La Salle.
Because every time somebody pronounces a day on TV, I always text them and like, hey, change that real quick.
It gets pronounced differently. I don't know.
It's just that New Orleans accent where everything starts running together.
There you go, baby. It's all together. New
Orleans. De La Salle is one word, right?
Hey, Gabe, talk about rugby in general. Listen, this is an exciting team. I always say this to people. It's the New Orleans Saints of the MLR. The team is high scoring. They're exciting. But if there's a big match this week. We're trying to get a big crowd. We had a lot of home games early, unlike Toronto, which is backloaded with the home games. This was the first Toronto game early in the season. And you see the action in this team. The passing is crisp. And obviously they call touchdowns tries in rugby. But talk to the average person, Cam, about why it's fun to get out there, because we have a game this Saturday at 2 o'clock out there.
First off, we're spring in New Orleans, so you can't ask for much better weather than we're getting right now. So it gives you something to do on a Saturday about midday. And 2, we're playing a pretty exciting brand of rugby. We're leading the league in points scored, so there's a lot of action. We're scoring toucries, tries constantly.
There's number 14. I think that's the guy named Walker. Yeah. Hope that's not the play you got.
So that's what I'm saying. It won't be a boring, boring like a football game where you have a couple of field goals and that's it. But there's a lot of offense, a lot of running, big hits.
It's big Kyle
so
Bailey.
We like to chuck the ball around and have a good time. So I think it's a pretty exciting sport to watch, period, even for the casual sports fan.
I'm hooked. I didn't know anything about rugby 3 months ago at all. And your father said, hey, you're interested in calling the games? I'm like, absolutely not. I know nothing about the sport. I'm not going to put myself out there.
You picked it up pretty well, though.
But I'm enjoying it. I don't really completely know it, obviously, but I do enjoy watching it, and I'm happy to be a part of it. What do you think about New Orleans? You're a Bay Area guy. Yeah. What's your take? You've now been here about a year and a half. What do you think about this city?
It's a great city. It's like this place doesn't need an excuse to party. It's great kind of just coming to our home games and seeing people in the fans just having a good time and partying, and then going out in town and people kind of knowing about New Orleans rugby and partying and having fun and a good time. I love the food. Obviously, the food down here is great. Just went to
Antoine's, right?
Willie Mays. I just went to Willie Mays.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, first time. Went there, had the fried chicken.
And gosh, Scotch House.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. It was, like, I had sat down, I was like, I got the fried chicken, let's see what it's about. And it was really good.
Hey, I found something out recently that I knew that when I first started this, rugby is the second largest sport in the world, but it kind of surprised me that the third largest sporting event is the Rugby World Cup.
Yep.
People always think the Super Bowl, but that's even below because you got the Olympics, you got the Soccer World Cup, and Rugby World Cup is 3. This is a worldwide sport, and you have been practicing with the U.S. national team. The World Cup is in Japan this year. I'm not positive you're making the team. I know Cam Dolan's on it. Yeah. But talk about the experience of being with these guys, the U.S. Eagles.
It's great. We've definitely had a really good culture coming in. Over the last years. I've been playing with them since I was 24 and kind of gotten to see the evolution of what's going on with the USA Rugby team in terms of like players and the coaches. And right now we've got a really close-knit team. The MLR has done wonders for the domestic players, keeping up with the professional players over in overseas, because now everyone's professional. There's no more just kind of men's club team and professional. And it's just great quality. You get to go over there, train hard, train with really good guys like bunch of Cam Dolans and Joe Tefehis and AJ McGinty's and our captain Blaine Scully, just like all these really good guys, and you just want to play rugby and you want to get better at rugby and you don't want to let them down and stuff like that. So it's an exciting time for USA Rugby, that's for sure.
We have a tradition where we sign the ball. Some of your teammates have signed it. Your general manager, your head coach Nate Osborne, who's doing a fabulous job. Ryan Fitzgerald, I got to point out, the players that he's accumulated and the personalities, and I've told him this before, it's a great fit, and I think he's done a wonderful job. And you guys, it's just a pleasure to be around y'all. But the tradition is this: I give tickets away also, but I think you guys have a good end for tickets. The game, like I said earlier, it is this weekend. Our next game, this team is looking for their third 3-game win streak right now. They're 7-2. There's the schedule. I'll give you that anyway. You can put that on your wall.
Yeah, it'd be great to have everybody out there. You know?
Yeah, we're getting out there. You're big.
I keep saying we're on the West Bank. It's a struggle for some people in New Orleans, but that's only 3 stops past shop, so you can make it out there. For
1 mile past shop, right? I think you might be off by a little bit, but not much. Here you go. We got gifts here. We're going to give you gift certificates to Shays de la Shays. I'll bring that to the game.
Okay,
and
awesome.
also, ask Nick Feeks. He enjoyed the heck out of it.
Okay.
And that is Task Performance. Feel that thing.
That's nice.
Task Performance. I hope you enjoyed that. That is fabulous.
Really nice.
Hey, got to thank these guys. Hey, y'all come out and support this team. This is a New Orleans team. I say support them all. Support the Baby Cakes, what they're doing. Support the soccer here. Support them all. This is New Orleans, and these are New Orleans teams. We all love the Saints. Some of y'all love the Pelicans. I do. But the fact is, we love rugby too. So get on out there and support these teams. They deserve your support, and they're fun to watch as well. Hey, coming up next, we know you love football, and we have an ex-Saint, J.J. McCleskey, and his son, who, by the way, was a superstar receiver at Oklahoma State, that high-flying offense. He switched over. He says, I want to go play with my dad, who's an assistant coach for the Green Wave, and he is now back in New Orleans, and he's going to play next season for the Wave, and that's coming up next. JJ and Jalen McCleskey right here on Primetime Sports. Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. Like I said earlier, I rarely have rugby, I rarely have gymnastics, but I did this show. It's usually the big sports, basketball, football, and all the ones we love. But we're learning the new sports, but what I have right now is something everybody in New Orleans loves, a connection to the Saints and a connection to Tulane Green Wave, and they're all right here because they have J.J. McCleskey, the former defensive back. He was a wide receiver turned defensive back with the New Orleans Saints, had some time with the Cardinals, and of course went to Tennessee, but his son is with him as well. Oklahoma State Cowboy, now a Tulane Green Wave. He comes back home. He's a St. Paul's product, and they're right here. It's J.J. McCleskey and his son Jalen, and I have my 5th or 6th father-son combination. I'm proud to do this. I had Doobie Plaisance. I had my first mother-son combination. She's a coach at Nicholls State, and he plays basketball at UNO. But talk about this real quick. How great. You're a Tulane football coach, assistant to Willie Fritz, and your son is going to be playing for you on a college level. JJ, please tell me what that feels like.
I mean, sometimes at practice, we're in spring ball right now, and I look over and I see him over and I just start laughing. I'm excited for his mother. She doesn't have to, split and decide where she's going to go to the game. She's at one spot now, so it's a blessing. And I get to see him every day where I didn't get to see him, for a long time because he was at Oklahoma State. It's just really a blessing. I
mean, listen, I'm going to say this. I did a bunch of your games for Fox with Tim Brando. You were a big-time receiver at Oklahoma State, Jalen. I mean, people had to account for you. Almost 2,000 yards, 17 touchdowns. It's not like you're a guy that didn't get to play or didn't get the ball. What went into your process about wanting to come home to the Crescent City to play your last year of college football?
Just being closer to home with my family and being able, my mom, it's an hour away from home. So she can for sure come to all the home games and just be able to be closer to family.
And you're with Pops every day. You heard what he just said. You could see the beam in his face talking about how cool it is to see you at practice every day. Your mom doesn't have to split time going to the games. When I'm going to see my son, I'm going to see my husband. Now she gets to go. What's that feel like for you being at practice right now, spring practice, and seeing Pops on the other side of the field?
Oh, it's fun because just being able to see him every day and seeing him coach the DBs and, all the DBs always say, he's one of the coolest coaches. They love having him as one of the coaches. So it's real fun to see that.
Do you take any pleasure beating those DBs downfield and say, Coach, Dad, you better coach these guys up or anything like that?
I don't say nothing like that, but, we go at it. The whole team, we always go at it every day. So it's real fun to be out there.
I remember back in the day when Tim Brando used to do the preseason games for TV, and Archie Manning was doing the games with him. And I remember, like, when Eli first got to the pros, he would make me listen to Eli's games and give him updates while he's calling the Saints game. And I say that because you, as a dad, you know, you had your son, and then when you took over coaching, you know, he's probably playing at the same time. That had to kill you, because I know what it's like to be a pop and want to see your son play.
I'm going to tell you a quick story. Their game was going to be on Saturday, and we were scheduled to play on Thursday. I knew I could make this game. They moved their game to Thursday night. We playing Wake Forest to open the season.
Right, yeah.
And it's the funniest thing, because my wife was in the stands because we're playing and Jalen's playing, and she has the pad out watching the game on TV. After the game, you know, we lost a game in overtime.
Hard loss to Wake Forest.
Real
right.
tough. And she's like, Jalen had 3 touchdowns, and I'm just like, you know, I'm like stuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm just devastated because we got beat, because we should have won the game, and then I'm happy for him because he, you know, scored 3 touchdowns. But I don't have that problem anymore.
You're beaming when you say 3 touchdowns. By the way, those don't grow on trees. I mean, you're on the other side of the ball, obviously, but you have big play capability right here. And I know when Willie Fritz came, it was more run oriented. You see the offense opening up more. What do you envision for Jalen next season playing for the Wave?
Well, it's not really what I envisioned for Jalen. It's the whole team. I mean, with Darnell Moody back, and then Jalen, and then we have young receivers that's coming along. Justin McMillan at quarterback, and then there's a plethora of running backs. We really have a good offense, a good offensive line. And I think with Willie Hall, he's a first-class offensive coordinator who knows what to do. He does a lot of different things. I'm very excited about our offense and just defending them every day. You have to be accountable as a defense, and defense is out in college football. Going to have to prepare for the Green Wave this year. Hey, Jalen, you might not know this, but before Tulane built their on-campus stadium, they had a stadium that they played Sugar Bowls and Super Bowls in. That I'm a witness. They had 84,000 people in there for a game. You're used to that at Oklahoma State. But one thing I can say about New Orleans, if you win, they come. And you see the Pelicans, when they went to the playoffs, that thing was packed. The Saints are always packed. Can you envision this season getting that place jam-packed and you scoring touchdowns at Yulman Stadium in your hometown?
I mean, it's gonna be real fun this year, and I can't wait. You know, but we just got to put in the work now to have that opportunity to win those games, so we can have the stadium packed. So you know, we're finishing up spring. And we've been getting at it every day, and then we got the off season, so it's gonna be real fun.
Give me your process when you went through high school to college. Obviously, you're a St. Paul's guy. They've got a great program there. When you were getting recruited, kind of tell me who you were recruited by, why you chose Oklahoma State, and kind of talk a little about your career there, and then your decision to come home.
When I was getting recruited by out of high school, we went to a few camps. We went to Oklahoma State. We went to Florida, camps like that. And just being recruited, I just wanted to be in a place that fit my skill set and would help me out in the future. And looking at everything, looking at Oklahoma State, the receivers they had Des Bryant, they had Justin Blackmon, you know.
Big time.
Yeah,
big time.
You know, they run the spread offense, you know, they're throwing the ball a lot. And then, so I just felt like that was a really good fit for me. And I felt like that I could really take my game to another level.
People that don't know Willie Fritz don't know what a cut-up this guy really is. But there's another level of cut-up. And you had one over there up in Oklahoma State. I love him. You know, the mullet's my favorite thing of all time. Mm-hmm. What is it like with Mike Gundy? There you go. That's before the mullet really got grown out. That's kind of when it was a mini mullet. His West Virginia waterfall has become legendary. What's he like?
He's funny, you know. 1 minute you'll see him in the stadium, and then the next minute he'll be in Florida somewhere catching rattlesnake or armadillos or something like that. He's always
catching rattlesnakes and armadillos.
He's always on the move, you know. He would always, you know, in team meetings he would always have something positive to say or a note to say, something like that for the day or the week. And he's a really funny dude and a good coach.
Tell me about Willie now. Now you're a new coach, and obviously you have position coaches as well. But what's your impression of Willie after doing some practice with him, getting to know him, obviously during the kind of the recruiting time?
I really like Coach Fritz. You know, he's a coach that, you know, he doesn't take, He doesn't take anything for granted or anything like that. You know, he wants the best out of everybody, and he's going to push you to do the best no matter what it is.
Secondary coach, obviously you've had some success. I had Perry Nickerson on this show last year. He's now playing with the Jets. I remember seeing him on like a Monday night game. Right at the beginning of the season, he's making headlines, just getting up and going. Do you take pride in seeing your guys move on? I know you got another potential guy, maybe a couple, but I know Donnie Lewis, who seems like he's been around since the original Bush administration. But this guy can play. Do you take some special pride in seeing your guys move on to that next level?
I tell you, Jalen said it earlier, Coach Fritz holds everybody accountable, and just not the players, but the coaching staff. So we really have to be on top of our things. So our expectations at Tulane are high, and we hold the players in regards to having a high standard, and that's what we're doing right now. And Donnie Lewis, he's got a great chance to play in the National Football League. He does a great job on special teams. I think that will be the key to him.
Yep.
Him and Rod Teamer playing in the National Football League. But I really think those guys have a great chance. And, our special teams unit is so well coached, and Coach Fritz runs that. And it's going to give them the ability to be able to go to camp and not have to be taught again. They've already been taught the basics that you're getting taught in the National Football League. So those guys should thrive well.
Rod Teamer was a guest on this show. Fine young man there. Hey, by the way, Willie Fritz has done nothing but win where he's been. I mean, listen, he won when he was at Sam Houston. He obviously won big at Georgia Southern. Now you're seeing what's happening. They lost a lot of close games over the last few years, and the record could have easily tilted the other way. This year you saw a lot of that in the beginning of the season again. You mentioned the Wake Forest loss. We can rattle them off, but we know this team started 2-5, and there was some worry. But finishing 5-1, talk about that progression, JJ, and going through the season on how they did that.
Well, first of all, you have to look at the opponents that we played in the first 5 to 7 games. I mean, you got Wake Forest, you have Ohio State, Cincinnati. I mean, these teams, went to bowl games.
Very good teams.
Won bowl games, was very competitive. We were in the games. I think the addition to Justin McMillan taking over offensively really helped out. All our games were close. And I'm going to tell you one thing that I learned last year as a new coach at Tulane was the level, the quality of level of playing in the AAC. You're talking about Houston, Temple, South Florida, Central Florida. This is a very good conference for football. And, I grew up an SEC fan. I just watched him for 3 years in the Big 12. And I'm going to tell you, there are some good players. And when we're out here recruiting, we have to remind ourselves, and Coach Fritz is first and foremost, that we have to recruit Division I players because that's who we play against.
Oh, we did Nebraska's first game this season. Scott Frost was at UCF. He was quick to point out they got a mythical national championship. So, I mean, they are tough in that conference. I know. I'd be remiss not to ask you about your coming to New Orleans originally. You stayed here later after even moving to Arizona and playing for the Cardinals, but you were a Saint back 93, 94, maybe 95. Kind of towards the end of Mora's run.
Right.
First of all, what's Jim Mora like? And what was that? There's a picture of our guy, Deuce McAllister. I know you're tight with him. But what's it like, and I don't have a ton of time left, with playing for Mora and playing for the Saints?
I tell you, it was a pleasure. People ask me about the National Football League, and I'm going to tell you, the Saints playing in the Dome is more like a home because more like college football because our fans are just so rowdy. They care, they're passionate about football. Coach Moore was a very organized coach, kept you on track all the time. And it was just funny being coached by Coach Moore because he's just a good guy.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, playoffs. That's our boy Jim Moore. By the way, one last thing. You're coming home. You're playing for Dad. Give your mom a shout out because she's the one that's responsible for all this. You happy to be home though?
Oh yes, most definitely. You can't go wrong with New Orleans food.
And home cooking?
Yeah, the home
don't be
cooking.
like me and gain 30, 40 pounds right when you move back. I'm still trying to lose that. Hey, by the way, I can't give you anything. You're an NCAA athlete, but you can watch this. You can go to rugby games. I know you have your spring game this weekend, but next in May, there's games in May 11th, May 18th. We're going to let you get that. We'll give you some nice sweet tickets. I want you to go out there. You're learning tackling from these guys too, correct?
Yeah, rugby tackling.
And there's Task Performance, a beautiful shirt.
Thank you.
I know you know a lot of those Saints guys. They all wear that. And we're going to sign the helmet. Tulane Green Wave, you're a coach, and he's a player. And as we go and sign off on this show, That's JJ McCleskey, Jalen McCleskey. Check them out. The spring game is this weekend. And also next fall, make sure you get over to Ullman Stadium. It's going to be an exciting brand of Green Wave football, and I cannot wait. Hey, I got to run. I'm running out of time. Thank you, Will Hill. Thank you, CST. Thank you, WLE, Tsunami, Hunter, Naila. Thank you all. We'll see you next week on Primetime Sports.
It's back. Experience golf like never before. A party New Orleans style.